Welcome back to the Great Lakes Fisherman. In this video, I'm going to show you the technique I use to catch a really easy limit of 25 crappie here in the state of Michigan. I did a video on this technique earlier in the spring, but it really didn't do justice to how efficient this technique can be. So in this video, you'll literally see every single fish I caught. And if you struggle to catch crappie on your local lake, stick around to the end because I've got an announcement coming for an upcoming video I'm going to be doing here on the Great Lakes Fisherman. Before we go on, please remember to hit that like button, ring that bell to be notified of future videos, and please consider subscribing to our channel. These three things really help the channel a lot. Thanks. So the technique I'm using to catch these fish is known as spider rigging, and I did do an introductory video to this earlier this year to kind of explain the basics of it, but it is literally the most efficient way I've found to catch crappie. All of the fish that you see in this video, I would say, were probably 9 inches and larger. So had I been keeping them for a fish dinner, I don't know that I would have thrown any of them back. And just as a kind of refresher for this type of fishing, effectively what I'm doing here is just slow trolling with 2 very long rods out the front end of the boat. This is a form of finesse fishing, in my opinion, because you're able to really dial in almost every characteristic of your presentation, from speed to color to depth. And if you're using a live scope, which you can see in the video I'm using, you can even position the depth of that of your presentation to each individual fish if you'd like. Now these fish today are very scattered, and so there's really no need for me to be bouncing around and moving baits constantly, because there's just so many fish scattered in all depths of the water column that I'm always running into some at the depth that I'm running my presentations. But there are days where the fish tend to congregate at one depth or another, and in those cases you can really adjust your bait to where those fish can find them.
Nice crappie, 9-10 inches. Here's another one.
One of the fun things about this type of fishing is that you also will learn a lot about the lake in terms of what other species are there. Almost any fish will hit one of these baits, and at the end of the video here I put some clips in of some things that I caught incidental to crappie on this particular day.
Another one.
Another great thing about this technique is that it's a great one to use to get a young person hooked on fishing. When you take out a 4 or 5-year-old, you don't want to take them out all day and have them sit there and not catch fish. But when you find the fish using this technique, it can be one after another all day long, and that's the ideal situation to get a young person excited about the sport of fishing. And while all of the fish were kind of in that same 9 to 10 inch range, I did catch 1 or 2 that were a little bigger. And in fact, I think this fish is the largest one I caught on this particular trip.
Nicer fish.
One of the beauties of using these long 14-foot rods that I'm using here is that if you don't reel it, if you're able to just lift the fish into the boat, when you set your rod back into the water, you're literally putting that presentation right back at the same depth that just caught that last fish.
There's a fish. First one in a little bit.
Until you've used this technique, you may not realize how many crappie are in some of these lakes, but crappie are known to be one of the most prolific fish in fresh water. They breed very quickly, and if you have 1 or 2 successful spawning years, you know, it can inject, you know, thousands and thousands of fish into a body of water. The lake I'm fishing here is an impoundment, and the fish that I was finding are located on the flats, which are large flat areas between the main lake channel and the main shore drop off. Pretty much any area that had a flat bottom, I could use the live scope and find fish scattered all throughout these different flats. I want to point out something on this particular fish here. You'll notice that on the nose of the fish is a dark stripe. And after doing some research, I've heard different rumors about what causes this, but after doing a little bit of research, it seems like the most common theory is that this is caused by a recessive gene in crappie, and it shows up in certain populations. It's the only one I've ever caught on this lake that I've seen, but I'm sure there's more here.
Another nice fish. One after another.
If you have any questions or comments on this technique, I'd love to hear them. I always like engaging with fishermen and talking about different techniques. And you know, no one's an expert, the ultimate expert. There's always things to learn. Be happy to answer questions based on what I know about crappie fishing and on this particular technique. But if you have any comments on it, or things that you've used in the past that you find to be effective, or you think are worth sharing with folks, please drop them in the comment. Love to, and I try to answer or engage with every comment I get. So.
Thanks.
And you can see here that I've actually worked my way back to the boat ramp. This lake just had so many fish scattered that pretty much anywhere I went, I was catching fish. And as it got close to quitting time, I just slowly started maneuvering my boat back towards the boat launch area, caught fish all along the way, and literally was catching them right out in front of the boat launch before I finally decided to pull lines for the day. So I lose this last fish and decide it's time to put him up for the day. But I'm going to show you some bonus footage I took of some of the fish that were incidental catches while fishing for crappie on this day. And I'm also going to talk about an upcoming video that I think if you're a crappie fisherman or have struggled to catch crappie and you're trying to figure out what you're doing wrong, I think you might find it interesting.
Oh man, this is a big fish, whatever it is. It's going to be a big walleye, or a sheephead, or a carp. We're going to have to go back here and land it. let go. Oh, I would have liked to have seen what that was. Well, there's a whole bunch of something in the water column right there. And see if any of them hit us. It looks like not. Oh, yep, one of them hit it, sure enough. Oh, and there he is. And that is a bluegill. Those were bluegill. So there's another species that we've caught today using this method. This nice bluegill. There's a whole school of them, as you can see. It's just a really, really efficient method for catching fish.
I was so upset that I lost the video footage of me actually hooking and landing this walleye. I overrode it. The way I have my camera set up, it overwrites itself every 5 minutes, and I didn't. You have to stop it to make sure it captures or saves the footage that that last 5 minutes worth. And after I caught this walleye, I realized too late that I hadn't saved it. But I did get the release here. So the big announcement is that I'll be issuing a video here with the rules on this, but basically I'm looking for you, the viewer, to select a lake that you've struggled to catch crappie on, where you know the crappie are there, but you've just struggled to catch them. And I'm going to select one of these lakes that I get from you and do a video on how I did when I went crappie fishing there and what I was able to either find or not find. You know, if I go there and I don't catch a single fish, I'm still going to do the video. So you'll either see some frustration or maybe you'll learn a little something about the lake that you're trying to catch these fish on. But look for that video to be issued shortly. It'll have the rules for the lake selection. Unfortunately, since it's the first one of these I'm doing, it's going to be relatively limited in geographic area to the southeast Michigan, maybe northwest Ohio sort of area. But look for that video as I'll be releasing the rules for that challenge along with this video. And that's going to do it for today. So as always, thanks for watching.